Welcome to Mamas and Mimosas. I'm Janelle.
I'm Marianne.
And I'm Roni.
And today we're talking about how we discipline our kids. So grab your mimosas, pop in those earphones, and let's dive right on into episode 9. You missed it. Woo! All right, so let's start.
Ooh. A little
back
strong.
in
She
the
took a
day.
sip of her mimosa, guys, and has a little kick in there.
Okay, so how were you guys disciplined as kids?
Who wants to start? I'll say my beatings for later.
How was I not disciplined? Let's see. I was hit with anything my parents can reach, basically.
Oh,
Like, like a fly swatter, the metal part.
Ooh, that's a good one. Good idea.
I've had, sandals thrown at me.
I don't know about the
I've had
chocolate.
water thrown at me. I was a bad child, FYI.
Were you?
Yeah.
I wouldn't see that.
Yeah, I don't, and it's funny because my dad passed away when I was young, but it's like I remember a lot of it from my mom.
so did your dad spank you too?
No, but I remember him getting my brother with the belt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to get the belt too.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad used to work for the gas company, so he had these little flame imprints on his belt.
What?
You would
And
get
when
flame
we would get
tattoos?
No.
flame imprints on our
Was
legs
it like
and
3D
butt.
on the belt? Is that
Yeah,
why?
yeah.
Okay.
It was like indents,
Wow.
right? Impressions
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
belt. We would get flames. Yeah.
Mm.
That
Yeah.
was like the worst belt to get it.
Yeah, that sounds like
Yeah.
Timeout didn't exist back then for us.
Oh,
No.
definitely. I don't think it did. No, for me, it was old school, go pick out your switch. You guys
Oh,
remember
shut
switch?
up.
You remember
Yes.
a switch? It's like a little branch, like a tree
Oh,
branch
yeah,
or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
And I would literally have to go outside and find the branch. And then if I
I'm gonna
brought
use
back
that.
a little one, it was even worse. If I brought back okay, here's a little one. No, I had to pick out a nice size one.
Okay, so what's the strategy? Picking out a thin one or a thick one? Which one hurts less?
No, the thin ones
think
hurt
No,
more.
I think either way. The whole process, I don't even think it's the actual spanking. It's the working your way up to the spanking. Or if I knew I did something and then I got that call oh, you're gonna get it when I get home. It was that whole
the bubble guts.
Yeah.
And not just that
so
feeling
by the
inside.
time I actually got the spanking, my adrenaline was on 900, so I really didn't feel it.
You're
But-
just give it to me already.
Right. But no, definitely it was a switch or a hand. But I think I had in my lifetime or as a kid, I think I probably had a good handful of spankings. After a while they just didn't need to do it because the whole, looks or whatever would work. So I didn't have too many, but when I did.
As I got older, I got pinched, behind the arm.
My mom,
Ooh, that-
she was a
that part right
pincher.
there,
She
yeah.
would get you right behind that or in the
Ooh.
thigh.
In public, if
Oh.
we're in public, that's when she'd be like, "Get over here,"
Mhm.
and I'm I already knew I had to get close enough so that my arm,
so nobody would see.
Right?
Yeah,
Because
I
if
knew.
someone sees you, you're in more trouble.
Oh my god, my dad was all about the belts. He would literally make us bend over and just take it. And if we put our hands to block,
Oh,
we
yeah,
would
the
get it
pin
even
leg.
more.
Or they'll get the hands. They wouldn't care. They'll just get the
God forbid we blocked because then you'd get 3 more. It was and it was always 3. Yeah.
Really? No matter what you did?
No matter what you did, it was 3. But if you put your hands and you block it, you get another one.
So would you?
So it had to be
so
like
no
a
matter
3
the crime.
solid.
So if you did something really bad, you're I'm just gonna get 3 pumps. I'm gonna go ahead and do it.
No, but he would go hard. It wasn't just a quick 3.
It was
It was
like
like
a-
a
you felt
hard
it.
3, yeah. Or there was times where he would get a hanger or whatever he could
Ooh, a
grab.
hanger?
Yeah.
Like a
The
wire
hose,
hanger?
the hose that was in the backyard. If there
Oh
was a
my
little
gosh!
hose. Yeah, no. And I would try to be as good as I could
But
so
was
that
it
I wouldn't
always
get a
your dad?
spanking.
Like, did your mom?
So my mom, I remember one time she tried to spank us when we were kids, and it was like she smacked us, and then she went inside, and we didn't know she was watching from the window, and we just started busting up laughing because it didn't hurt at all compared to a belt, you know. And then she goes, "You think it's funny?" And she like ran outside,
and that's what
and then we just took off running. But no, she wasn't bad. She was the pincher, or she would get us by the hair real quick, you know, if we were acting. I'm like, excuse me, like check yourself, you know. But no, she wasn't bad. But my dad, it was like, it didn't matter how little the crime was. Like, if you would have lost his hairbrush, like, you knew it was
the
going
same
down.
amount.
That's what I'm saying. I would have been like, well, I'm just gonna go ahead because it's all equal.
And most of the time,
I might as well be bad.
No, you didn't want to get bad.
I know, right?
You didn't want to get
You only get 3 anyways.
And then most of my spankings were not even because of my doing. Like, the way it worked at the house is if you didn't admit to your wrong, everybody would go down.
Oh, shit.
And some of my siblings, I'm not going to say any names, but they would let everybody go down for them. And so we would all get it. And then I would always get whipped, like, for my brother Michael, you know, he has special needs, and he would do bad things
to school.
or he would hide or like run away sometimes, and if whoever was the one that was supposed to be watching him would get the beatings,
shit.
and it was just awful. Yeah,
that whole stress working up to that spanking is no joke.
So how old were you guys when you guys started getting spankings?
For me, for what I could remember, because I feel like I don't remember anything like when I was 2 and 3. I don't remember.
I don't even remember 5.
So
barely.
as early as I can remember, I feel like 6, 7. And I remember this one specific ass whipping that was really bad. It was from my dad, because normally my mom would be the one, but this time I was like shocked at my dad. But it was because I don't know why I'm about to embarrass myself like this, but we just keep it real on here. But so I think I was like, I had to be like 5, and I was sleeping, and I had like a dream that I was on the toilet, but I wasn't. So I had a little accident, and my mom says my dad was upset that I did it on his side versus hers. So that's why I got good on me. Yeah, you never got a
That's
spanking.
not even your fault. You were dreaming.
I know, and I got a spanking. You don't have a spanking that
that affected
history?
Yeah. Well, I feel like there was one time my dad was spanking my sister, and she was younger than me. So I yelled at him, I was like, "Don't hit her!" And oh boy, he came at me and backhanded me in the face, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's the last time I'm gonna say don't." You're on your own.
Yeah.
You have one.
You're not gonna help them.
But for you, do you remember?
I just remember like always getting in trouble. I mean,
just always.
But like me and my brother were always bickering, and it's not that it was towards me. I think because my cousins would always come over when we were little, like we always hung out like siblings.
That's the best.
And my brother and I shared a room, and we had a bunk bed.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, like I was a little kid, so I had all these stuffed animals on the top bunk because that's where I slept.
Mm-hmm.
And we were fighting about like Peter Rabbit books or whatever, and my mom's telling us to like shut up or like, you know, right, whatever. And like all of a sudden she gets so pissed, and we could hear her coming, so my freaking, it was either me or my brother, one of us put the chain on the door so she can't come in.
Did you really?
And me and my brother and my cousin are in the room, and she's banging on the door, like, open the door, like, you better open this shit now. Yeah. And like, we sent my cousin, because he was so scared, right? And he like runs and unlocks it and runs back, and I'm on the top bunk, like hiding behind all my like teddy bears. My brother's behind the pillow, and my cousin, because he was the last one, he like was just not hiding behind anything. He's just trying to come close to us, and she's just like swinging like a belt or something.
Oh my god!
So he was the one that got.
Your poor you guys didn't even get a spank. God.
If you talk to him, this is like his memory, like of my mom, and it's funny now. But back then we were just like, me and my brother are laughing behind, like whatever.
You guys set him up. You guys set him up. You guys totally set him up.
So wait, have you ever threatened to call the cops on your parents? Like,
no, I didn't even.
No.
It wasn't even a thought.
My dad's like, try it. Try it, because by the time the cops come, you're gonna have to
He was about it. I played on the phone and called like 911 like a whole bunch of times.
On your parents?
Well, I don't know if it was necessarily on them.
Oh
I just was calling them like back to back.
Just to see if they would answer?
And then I would hang up. And I didn't know, because I was young, I didn't know that they can call you back. And they called back and I answered like, hello? And then they're like, this is the police department. And I hung up again.
Oh,
and then they came out to the house.
Yeah.
And then they were like, we got calls from here, so we're just checking it out. And I was standing by the door with my mom like, and they were like, do you know who called? I'm like, no. And they're like, you could get in trouble if you're playing on the phone. I'm like, no, it wasn't me. I'm scared as hell. Oh my God, my mom knew I was lying. As soon as that door closed, I don't even think the police got down the street good enough. She beat my ass good for playing on that phone.
So would your mom spank you more or your dad?
My mom.
Your mom?
For sure. My mom. Yeah. Yep.
How old were you when your dad passed away?
5.
5?
And my brother was 10. My sister was like not even 1 yet.
Really?
She was a newborn. We're all 5 years apart.
Oh, nice. That's a good age.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So what about you? So what about now that you have kids? How do you guys discipline your kids?
Oh my gosh. I've tried everything you can think of. Like, we've done the timeout chair. We've done taking your toys away. What else?
So, okay, so...
I've even done the reverse psychology where I'm rewarding him, like making him do the sticker chart kind of thing.
So how did you guys do the timeout chair? Or, like, what was your method?
If he got in trouble, like, I would warn him. Like, he had his one warning. And then if he did it again, I'm like, all right, go to timeout. And he had a red chair, and it was in a spot where, like, we can see him, but he has no access to toys. No, like, he can't see the TV. Like, nothing where he can just chill right there and be content. It was just, like, in a spot in the corner, like, I don't know. It was just there, and it was a red chair. He'd go... And it would be the amount of time that his age was. So if he was 3, it was 3 minutes. If it's 4, 4 minutes. And then after, I would just, like, once the alarm or the little kitchen timer went off, I'd say, do you know what you're there for? Are you ready to come out and be good? And he'd say yes every time. And I would ask him, like, do you know why you're there? Like, make sure he knew why he was in trouble. And then I would say... what are you going to do next time when this happens? And he would say the answer, and then he'd come out, and, like, 10 minutes later, do the exact So, yeah, like, I don't know. Like, there was phases where timeout worked for him, and then there were phases where he'd go and sit there and laugh at us. And, So he's just gone through, like, we've done everything. Toys taken away. He has, like, so many that it doesn't faze him. Unless we wipe out the whole house, like, no toys, or I'm taking his electronics away.
Yeah.
I don't know what else. We've spanked him. And I don't know, like, I've tried the pinching. Everything is, like, it's phases.
Or
it just depends. Like, sometimes timeout works, sometimes spanking works, sometimes it's just, like, I don't know, and we don't even know. Like, lately, timeout's been working, but, I mean, he still does his... He's not a bad kid, but because, like, I think it's because we have such high expectations for him, like, I don't know, maybe it's harder for us.
Is it because he's so smart, so you're, like, you expect him to understand more? And like,
he's too smart for his own good. Like, he's our little, like, scientist. Like, he's really smart to the point where it gets him in trouble. Like, he has these smart-ass comments, but it's like you want to laugh, but you can't. It's like...
And whose personality is that? Yours or your husband?
Both.
It's both. I'm like, it's both.
Oh, wow. Did you have a question?
No, but you know what? Going back on timeout, like, our timeout as a kid, my dad would have us put our nose to the wall. and like we couldn't look. I don't know. My dad was in the Marines. He was
That's
crazy.
really smart.
So I think this is like Marine punishment tactics or something, because he would have us put our nose like to the wall. We couldn't look, and if we got caught looking, like he would like yell at us and scare the shit out of us.
That's standing in the corner, right?
Yeah.
That's standing in the corner.
That was scary.
No
you couldn't sit down. You could, you
Oh,
had to stand
you
there.
just have your head
put your
against the
nose
corner,
in the wall.
like-
Don't look at anybody.
Yeah, I remember standing in the corner. That you took
You
it
had
back.
well, what you were saying, like you had a special little spot for him. I was like, we got a spot too.
standing in the
We had our
corner.
nose in the wall.
Because they say, like, don't send them to their room because, like,
That'll
then they
be
end
their
up falling
timeout
asleep
room.
on their bed,
Yeah.
and it's like
A vacation, yeah.
Or they're close to a TV, and then they just start watching TV and don't even
Exactly.
think about.
Yeah, that's true.
You took it back with the standing in the corner. Well, I'm obviously I've been in the corner way too many times. So Marianne, I was gonna ask you, do you discipline according to like the crime, according to what he did? Is it like, okay, you did something really bad, now it's a spanking, or do you just go with the flow?
Depending on my mood, I think. Like, if I've lost my patience with him, it's like
Ass whooping right away.
he'll get spanked and sent to his timeout chair. And if he throws a fit in his timeout chair, I send his ass to the room. If he still throws a fit, I drag his ass to the room. And I'm like totally gonna get called on one of these days.
Do you count to 3? Do you do the whole counting?
I used to, and then I don't know who told. I don't know. My husband started listening to like podcasts or like personal development books as like parenting styles though, but from a guy's point of view, and it had told him like, don't count, it defeats the purpose, or it's just like giving them more chances basically. So we had like the conversation like, we're gonna stop counting.
Really?
So probably the last year or so we stopped counting, and we give him one warning, and if he doesn't, he gets like and we start saying you have a consequence. And he knows,
the counting, they call that literally a momster. Have you heard of that? Like if you count as a mom, and it says momster is like the definition is supposed to be what happens when mom counts to 3.
Yeah.
You turn into a monster.
Like a monster.
But see, like, Landon's the type that'll test us. So
Right, he wants to
wait
see
till you get on
you get
3.
to 1, and then if you're out in public and you get to 1, and he's still like being a little shit, and you say, okay, half a number, and then like people
2
around
and
him
a half.
You're not serious.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the word.
What kind of parent is that? Now they're doing half numbers, a quarter number.
Let me get to
And then
10.
the boy is down there breakdancing, and she's on number 1.5.
So, like, we made, like, the mutual agreement. Like, don't count, especially, like, don't make it a habit in public or whatever. Because then it makes you look stupid if you get to 0 and
public.
he's still there.
Yeah.
So we just stopped the counting.
That's
Wow.
so funny. What about you?
So I'm not even gonna lie. I am a wait till your dad gets home kind of mom.
You
No, but in the beginning, like we both disciplined, but his discipline, like they used to call him Sergeant Dad. Because his discipline is over the top, but I feel like he set the tone, like he did the discipline so good that they were
They're
like,
scared.
they knew better, to where it was like, I didn't even really have to, because they already, like he whooped them into shape. So if they did something, it was to the point where I just would have to like talk to them, or like,
Your
you know,
kids
just
are
kind of
good, though.
say
Your
like,
kids
you better
are
not, or don't even think about it kind
Yeah.
of thing. So I didn't really have to spank them, but in the beginning, here and there, they definitely got a few spankings. But now it's like literally to the point where it's like, well, wait till you're that.
Even with your daughter?
Oh, definitely with her.
Oh, wow.
I daddy her, but her, I do have to. I'm not even gonna lie. Me and her, we fight because that girl is my most challenging child. I'm like, of course the girl comes and she's like crazy. Like, yeah, we've
been waiting for her.
Like she challenges me. Like she even challenges her dad, which is Peyton and Devin are looking at her like,
Well,
like,
you
what?
were great.
Like the other, like a few weeks ago, we decided to do like a one night little camping thing, and like they were going back and forth hitting each other because he like really hit her, like spanked her, and she hit him back, and then he hit her back, and she kept going. Like me and Devin were like literally like we were crying because they went for at least 15 minutes. She was so hurt. She was like holding her arm and she was still hitting him, and he was like,
you
what?
get those kids that are just like so brave, and spankings are not gonna work.
What the heck?
Because it just makes them more tough. Like my sister would take the beatings, and it didn't matter. Like she just got more and more tough. And now she don't, like, you know, she doesn't fear anybody.
Yeah, she's a tough cookie. But
so
she's
gonna be tough.
Harley, because I couldn't believe it. We were like literally laughing so hard. He was even shocked. Like, I'm like,
and she's younger too. Like my sister was the younger one, and she would be so brave to him and talk back and stuff, or yell back at him. And me and my brother were like, "What? This girl's gonna get? She's gonna die."
Does she know who our dad is?
I know, but that's his blood. You know what I mean? Like, so Tyler met his match. Like that's his baby blood right there.
Oh, I said, you're getting all of this back. You remember how you used to be before you tied the knot with your look? Yeah, it's all coming back. All coming back, and I'm just gonna sit back and watch it.
Oh my god.
So I'm one of those wait till your dad gets home moms.
See, I wanted to be one of those moms too, but because that's kind of how my mom was. I mean, she would discipline us a little bit, but she was like, okay, your dad's gonna. But then she knew my dad was so extreme that she would like, she would just threaten us with it, but she would never tell him because she knew like. It was really bad, you know, the way that he would spank us, so she wouldn't rat us out. But with me, I remember trying to do that whole thing, and one time my husband was there, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna tell your dad," and then he was like, "No, like don't make me the bad guy. I'm always gone at work.
Yep, that's
don't. It's not fair to make me the bad guy." And he and on top of that, like you're with them more, and you want to hold some power, you know, like you don't want them walking all over you. One day they're gonna be taller than you and old, like, you know, bigger, and you want them to still listen to you, you know. And I'm like, that's true.
But you have to. They're like well behaved. Like you guys have them to the point. Do you even have to spank them? Like
we don't spank them. Well, like, okay, so when they were younger, like each kid is different, and I think we covered that on the last episode, but each kid was different. Like my first one, he was like, we would put him on timeout, and then he didn't really faze him, and then I would try to smack his hand or whatever, and then he would kind of laugh, right? But then there were times where I would go and then he would like flinch, and then I would feel bad. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to be a beater. You know, like my dad was like enraged, and I remember being so upset that he would not be affected by his hand slap, that I would want to go harder and harder, like cry, like be affected, but he wouldn't. So then I'm like, okay, maybe I should take a different route, you know? Oh, I didn't even start it. So then I remember pinching him one time, and I pinched him, and that was it. Like, he lost his shit. Yeah, he started crying. It was like the worst thing I had ever done. So then after that, I was like, do you want to get pinched? And then he would tell me no. And that was it. I just had to threaten him with pinching, and so I never really had to spank him again. Yeah. And then I remember doing the whole 1, 2, 3, and then getting to 3. I'm like, oh, this is ridiculous. He's still not yeah. So then I think now, like, if we get to 1, like if we have to get to 1, then that means like you're done. But we don't count backwards. We're not like 3, 2, 1. It's like 1, and then they're like, okay, this is for real. Like you really mean it. And then we're a really sarcastic family, so I think that they don't understand when we're like serious. They think we're joking, and sometimes we're like, okay, no, for real, like you really need to do this. Don't make me be a crazy mom, you know?
Yeah.
And then my middle one, my gosh, that boy, I could pinch him, I could spank him, and he would just laugh. So he was the one that was affected by timeout, because he's like a busybody. He likes all the action and stuff. So if we would put him on timeout, it was like the worst thing in the world. He would freak out. He would cry the hardest with timeouts, but that's because it was the most effective, you know. So, to get him to come out of timeout and then apologize to us, he was so stubborn. He would never want to apologize, so we'd have to send his little butt back until he apologized. Wow. Yeah, because he would be like, and he'd be so red in the face of crying, but
like he is pissed off.
Yeah, he was pissed, like, and I'm like, kid, you got to go back. You have to apologize for what you did, you know. And then he'd go back, but we didn't have to do that so many times. Like I feel like once we started as early as 2, that we started the whole timeout stuff. And it was kind of like before they knew how to like really talk and have full sentences. But you have to start pretty early, you know. Oh my gosh, I'm getting hot. But
hot flashes, ladies and gentlemen.
but after 2, like that was it. Like that whole year of them being 2 was always the hardest year, but then because we were constantly on them and never like let up, then that was it. Like once they were 3 and older, we didn't have to.
That's what I'm saying.
We didn't have to slack up.
Not
that they're perfect, because they're not perfect, and they do slip up, but they know like do not throw tantrums.
Yeah.
And do not like. I'm going to take you to the bathroom and we're going to talk about this right now. You know, and my dad was a big ear puller. Like, so my mom would pinch us, but my dad, if we were in public, he would either squeeze the back of our neck and we knew, like, okay, we're done. And, or he'd pull our ear, like, come on, let's go. And then we're going to talk about this. And I'm like, oh. So, but I find myself doing that because in public, you can't, I mean, I don't whoop on them, you know? The flick. Yeah. But Ray, oh my God, my baby, okay, she's 2. And we were out in, at a restaurant this weekend, and she was pushing my buttons. She was like, shh. She was telling me to shush, and I was like, Ray, stop. And she's like, shh. And then she hit me, and I was like, oh no, you do not hit. And then she hit me again, and then I smacked her hand, and it didn't faze her. And then she tried to hit me again, and I pinched her because we were at a restaurant, you know. And then I pinched her.
Just sitting there.
He lets me handle. He wants to see. He doesn't jump in. He wants to see how I'm gonna handle it.
So you pinched her.
So I pinched her. She just looked at me and then she like kind of fussed. You could tell it hurt her because she was just like wiggling. So and she did it again. And I'm like, And so then I picked her up and we went on timeout at the restaurant.
Like
and then
on the floor.
And then she's sitting there. No, like we always go to where the waiting area is, you know. Okay. So we sat there and she was sitting there and she was fine. And I asked her, "Are you sorry?" And she said yes. And then she said she was sorry. And then we went back to the table and she tried it all over again. And then I took her to the bathroom, and then like I got crazy, like
You're pissed.
I was so mad, and I was like, I spanked her in the butt, and I was like, you do not hit mama. And then she would like, then I think because I was able to raise my voice and like kind of get more scary, you know.
Yeah.
Then she like she started crying, and then she was like sorry, but. Because you can't do that. Like, what am I going to do? Be at the table and swat her in the butt and be like, you cannot hit mama. Yeah, you got to get, like, deep in the voice, you know?
You get crazy.
And no, with that, like you said, you have to really start early because, and, like, I'm not saying that my kids are not great. They push my buttons, too, but it's, like, to the point now where I can just verbally, you know, say it, or even if I have to get stern. But, yeah, I do remember all that. It took, I think we even started disciplining them at, like, 1 or something, or even earlier, like 8 months or something.
even when they're 1, when they start hitting, if they hit other kids or they start telling no, you know, that's when you gotta be like, get no, don't tell me no, you know, like you have to kind of set your rules down, even though they're so little, but you have to. Yeah. Okay, so Ray, since she's 2, she's like right in that training stage, like. You know what I mean? Like we're still figuring out what kind of discipline is going to work for her.
Effective for her.
Yeah, and I feel like this is like the age that like it's the age that you really have to like stay on them and put your foot down and show them who's the authority so that they can listen to you, because I feel like it gets only harder if you don't do it at this age, you know. But also with this whole timeout thing, like what I found what was effective was the way that we got them off of timeout. Because my son was so stubborn with timeout, we would make him apologize, and if he didn't apologize, then he would go back on timeout. And it's hard because it is heartbreaking. And don't think I'm on this monster and I was like, this is so easy for me. I like to see my kids cry.
Really hard.
Because it's so hard, but I know that it works and it's going to benefit them. Because it's worse being like 7 years old throwing a tantrum in public, you know, than just doing
That's
it
like
now
my biggest fear.
in the comfort of your own house, you know. So I think that it's important when you go in to get them off, like you have to make them understand why they were on timeout and apologize. And if they say they're sorry, like, okay, I accept your apology, but you're still not going to get the toy. Like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, you
Yeah.
know, like, I accept your apology and you're okay, we're good.
But I
But you're
said
not
what I
gonna
said.
you're not gonna get the toy or whatever you were crying for. Like, I'm not gonna give this to you because
whatever you
then
threw a
it
tantrum
defeats
for.
the whole
Yeah.
purpose of you putting them on timeout.
Yeah.
And I see that happen all the time, and I'm like, wait, you're giving them what they cried for and what they got in trouble
After
for.
timeout.
And now, why did you even put them on timeout? You know?
Yeah.
So that's what. That's
Like
what.
for
That's
Landon, what
everything.
he gets in trouble the most for these days is talking back. Like he is, like no doubt, the smartest, like a little 4 or 5-year-old. Like he can name every single dinosaur and tell you all their bones. Like he's smart. That he talks back and it's like a smart ass. Like
Smart aleck.
yeah, and it's like.
Did you really just say that?
And he's how 4?
He'll be 5 next week.
Because my 6-year-old, he's like that.
So he gets in trouble for
Really?
talking back
Yes.
the most. And it's like, we tell him something and he, every single time has something to say. He doesn't just say, okay, I'll do it, Mom, or yes, Mom. Like, it's,
Okay, but we
no,
have to do it
I
right
have
now."
to do this because of this. And I don't want to do it because of that. And I'm like, just effing do it. Damn it.
So do you cuss? Do you find
When
yourself
I
cussing?
cuss, that's when I'm pissed. Like, that's when you have already, like, I'm past this threshold of my blood boiling. I've already erupted. That's like,
Does he kind of react, or does he know like, oh shit, Mom said
yeah,
that word,
when
like,
I'm
calm
like
down.
screaming and my eyeballs are popping out and I'm hitting my hands together, he's like, oh shit, I'm in trouble.
Like, this is.
And
Oh,
like,
the hand clap is the worst.
like,
Like, you
when
know,
your hands are red,
this
from
is your face next. You better.
Why do they have to take you there though?
I
Like,
know.
why did you want me to go from 0 to 100
That's what I'm like,
this?
I feel like I feel like you guys never do that to your kids, and I'm like, dude, what the hell am I doing wrong with this kid?
And it's funny
Yes.
because people
She
say that all the
Harlan.
time, like, oh, I've never seen you discipline your kid and stuff. But we do, and I think that we do it so much in our home that in public,
They already
you
know the
don't have
deal.
to go so extreme because they already know
Mhm.
it's 0 to 10. Like, we're not going to put up with it. And I don't know about you guys, but do you guys have talks with your kids, like, after, like, an outing?
Or before we go
or
somewhere.
before, like, warning?
Don't get up in here and act the fool, okay?
Because we do that. Like, I mean,
Oh, yeah,
we'll have like a pep
absolutely.
talk, like, you better use your manners. You better say hi to
Oh,
everybody.
yeah, absolutely.
You don't have to hug everybody, but say hello, you know,
Most
verbally.
definitely.
Have manners.
Have manners, you know, and then there's sometimes where they'll say something, like, they got to an age where they like to correct you. Like, my older ones, he's 11, and then there's a 6-year-old, and my 6-year-old especially, he loves to correct you. Like, if you say, oh yeah, we just did that like the other day. No, that was last week, Mom. You know, and I'm like, does it matter? Yeah. Oh my God, they're always doing that. And there was a time that I afterwards we were on our way home, and I was like, listen, it doesn't matter. Like, when I'm talking to somebody else, you
That's
don't
it.
need to
Yeah.
correct me. You know, like, I know what I meant. I'm having a conversation with them. Like, it's not your business. You know? Yeah. Oh, that would get my blood
I think that's
boiling.
the age because Peyton does that sometimes.
Yes.
And I'm like, first of all, I was not even talking to you. Secondly, please stay out of grown folks' business.
Yes.
And last, you just earned yourself.
Now you earned yourself a beating.
Right? Like, I told you.
Oh my God.
No, but that's so true. What you said, because I just lost my freaking train of thought. What did you
about them correcting you, or like be at different ages?
No, when you talk to them, because even in the grocery store, if I have to take them in the grocery store, I'm like, when we get in this grocery store, do not ask me for a damn thing. I'm going to get some skinless chicken breast, and I don't want to hear anything, okay?
Yes, you have to warn them.
That's how we are
they
at Target.
know.
I'm like, I'm not buying you anything at Target.
Yes.
We're here for this, this, and this.
Yeah.
But they still, the thing is, they still ask you.
Yeah.
Like, well, can we get some? No, and then that just takes me over the top.
What did I say in the car? What did I say in the car?
I'm at the point where I tell him, he'll ask me, and I'm like, ask me again. Ask me again.
I
And he's
dare
like,
you.
yeah.
I dare you to ask me again.
Oh,
Oh my God. See, my dad was so, like, he was so big on respect and fear. Like, he'd rather be feared than, like, loved. Like that was his
Really?
thing.
But
Yeah,
is that
like
because he was in the military?
maybe, and then maybe his upbringing too. So like, he was super like, you need to respect me, and we never talked back. Oh my God, we never, like, all the things that my kids do.
Yeah.
I'm like,
You knew
do
better.
I need to beat you with the belt for
That's
you like
what
to
worked
not
for
push
us.
me to this level? You
But
know?
the times have changed too. Like
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
stuff that our parents got away with.
No,
we could never.
no way.
We could never.
No.
We could never. Mm-mm.
And
Yeah.
see, I want to find like a balance. Like, I want to be loved and respected, and I don't need to be feared, but I need you to know, like, no means no. I need you to know that I'm not. You can't
You just need to
walk all
listen
over
the first
me.
time.
Yeah.
So do you think your kids test you more than they test dad?
Oh hell yes,
Yeah. Mhm.
yes,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yes. It frustrates the hell out of me because my husband, he works a lot, so when he's home, they're angels, and I'm like,
What
are you
is
kidding
that?
me right
What
now?
is that
All week long,
about?
I've been dealing with having to
Yeah.
tell you guys 10 times to
Yeah.
do something, you know, and then when he's home, you guys are great. And then he goes back to work, and if I and
like-
sometimes I'm like, oh, you want me to call dad? And then they're like,
See?
oh no, please no.
You gotta
no,
use that
no.
daddy card
And
sometimes.
I hate it because I want them to respect me
Yeah,
the same
yeah,
way.
yeah.
But it's funny because my husband's not. He
Doesn't
doesn't
yell
beat
at
them,
them, yeah.
and you know what I mean. Like, but he's very
get
no
that
nonsense,
respect,
and
yeah.
he gets that respect. And I don't know. Maybe it's a mom thing.
Yeah, I
don't
think
know.
so. I think so because 100%. If we are on a trip and dad is there, angels. Like, I mean, even Harley. The minute he goes take a phone call or something, it's just like, let me just try her really quick. I don't understand. I don't get it. So I'm thinking it definitely has to be. It's like, is there
Especially if you're
so
a stay-at-home mom, I feel like
Maybe because
Yeah.
you're with them all the time that they're just like,
they're like, she's still gonna love me.
or maybe they learn to manipulate us, you know? And that's the thing, I'm always asking them, like, why do you have to take me to this level? Like, can't I just be the cool mom? You know, like, I just want to be happy all the time. Can't you just let me be happy? Why do you have to turn me into a monster? Like, and then they're like, okay, you know? But, so wait, so is your disciplining different now that they're older, or?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that whole starting them early with the discipline, like, helped to the point where now it's literally just, I have to raise my voice every now and then or say something, but it's just that with the boys. Let me just be clear. Harley is still in the training ages,
phase.
so yeah, Harley's a little different story, but definitely the boys is just like a matter of like talking to them. And I feel like now it's just basically where they trigger me is I feel like I'm repeating myself the entire day. I feel like that's parenting is you're just repeating yourself.
Yes,
Because I don't
it
know
is.
how many times I say the same thing like over and over and over again to where I'm about to blow.
I started making a freaking list because
How
I feel
many
like I
times you
repeat
said it?
myself. So I was like, okay, what are the things that I repeat myself the most on? Pick up your towel, hang up, throw the trash away or whatever. So I made a damn checklist. And still I have to repeat myself, like, check your damn list. I'm trying to, like, make it very easier for you.
Dude, I tell Landon, like, are your ears broken? Do we need to go to the hospital to have the doctor check your ears? Because, I told you like 5 times already. He's like, it's not. I heard you. And I'm like, then do that shit.
But there's times that, like, I think because, like, we started so young that if I have to repeat myself a couple of times, then I tell my son, like, just go to your room. Just go to your room because you're not following directions. Even my 6-year-old, I still have to send him to me. Sometimes even my 11-year-old, like, if he just, like, tries to play the, like, I love you game, like, Mom, I'm your favorite, and, like, let me just ask you 10 times, and then eventually you cave in. And at first it's funny, and then I'm like, okay, just go to your room because you're not listening to me. Like, you're not getting it. I said no, and why do you have to get me to this point?
I know.
Just go to the damn room.
Oh, okay. Because you have a teenager, is it different than, like, with your... I mean, he's not a toddler, but wait, he's 6?
Your child.
Like, is there different ways you discipline them because there's a teenager and
like,
then the baby?
Do you
and
still have to, like, repeat yourself a lot to the teenager? Yeah? Okay.
But it's like it's not more so like pick up your stuff. It's like for some reason I don't think I feel like he's tuning me out a little. Is this whole teenage thing, but for him, it's the take whatever matters to him, like that phone or
So you
the
take
minute
like
you take his phone, I'm always looking for a reason to take his phone.
Have you ever shut off the Wi-Fi? Like I've heard parents do that.
That's punishment for your damn
right,
self.
exactly. No, I literally just take the phone. Like, but I look for any excuse. Like the other night, I heard like laughing and they were upstairs playing at 10:30, or I heard some laughing at 10:30. So I was like, okay, text them, bring down your phone. Because you think I'm playing. You know this house is shut down at 7:30. You don't have to go to bed at 7:30. No, he doesn't have to go to bed at 7:30. But he needs to be in bed by 9:30. 9:30, no later than 10. Like 10 is, I feel like you're pushing it. But yeah, they were up just like laughing and carrying on. So I took the phone. And now we just started.
For how long though?
Oh, I just till I feel like he suffered or I want to give it back. I heard for summer he pissed me off and he got his phone taken away for the whole summer.
So what if he has his phone taken away and then does something bad? Like what do you do next?
He usually doesn't, but if he did, I just take whatever. Like take Netflix, Disney Plus, anything that he likes or would do since he didn't have his phone. He would probably watch TV. Nope, well that's gone too. So. And then, just take away.
Just keep taking shit away.
And now we just started this phone box. This is for the teenagers because I have another teenager in my house. My niece who's 14. I don't think I've told the viewers that, but so they're always on their phone like 24/7. So now when they come home from school, they have to turn in their cell phone in the box, and then they don't get it back until in the morning.
What?
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah, that's why they're sitting on the couch right now watching,
like socializing like normal human beings.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, so.
See, my 11-year-old is begging me for a phone, and I'm like, you don't need a phone right now. And he's like, oh, my friends have it. I'm like, well, you could use my phone. Call them. You can call them. I'm totally down for you calling your friends, but you don't need my phone. You know?
When my mom's
But do they get on their like laptops and get on their social media and then just message their friends that way?
Well. No, but they play PlayStation and they all have the headphones, so they all talk to each other. Yeah. But my son is not allowed to play during the week because he also got his PlayStation taken away from him the first week of school, and so he had it taken away for like 2 months. Yeah, my husband went extreme, like balls to the wall, was like, "You're no PlayStation for 2 months," and so he had to earn it back. But what you asked, while they're in trouble or while they don't have the PlayStation, he has chores. He gets more chores. Okay, so you didn't listen to me. Now you got to vacuum the whole house. Okay, now you got to go scrub the toilets. Now you got to go clean the mudroom. Now you got to, I could come up with all my chores. I'll give him all my chores. Fold this laundry. Now I think that's the best punishment is like
chores.
Okay, you get a basket and you get a basket, and I don't want to. If you talk, you get another basket, and they'll just sit there.
I make them do it without punishment. I'm like, here's the laundry folded. I washed it.
That's good. But sometimes they're so busy with school reports and stuff. Like, I feel kind of bad putting all that extra workload on them, but not when they're being bad, not when they're not listening. I'm like, you have time to argue? Okay, then you can fold these clothes.
My husband always says, use your help, because I would find myself like taking on everything, like, I gotta fold this clothes, I gotta do this, I gotta do, and I'm like, wait, hold up, how many people I have in this house that could help? I'm like, you fold this, you do this, you do that, and it's
never like you're folding, but you just have to accept that it's not going to be perfect, but you're teaching them and you're training them, and eventually it'll be better
to swallow, because some people are like, they want their stuff, like when the kids do the dishes, the teenagers, they do not put the stuff back in its place. Like, everything's everywhere in the kitchen, but I'm like, so I feel like they're doing it on purpose because they think I'm gonna tell them to stop, but I'm like, so what? I don't care. I'll get a cup from where the pots are supposed to be. Keep washing dishes.
You're like, oh my.
I'm not saying no.
Oh my God. Okay, so have you guys ever seen The Super Nanny?
Yeah, I used to like that show.
Oh, I've seen a couple episodes.
Maybe on TLC, but me and my husband used to watch that before we even had kids. I remember, I think I was pregnant when we would start watching that, and we were like, oh my God, those are like
to get tips.
That's how, to get tips. Like, she was all about timeout.
Those kids were
like naughty, whooping on their parents and stuff, but it was effective. Like, I think timeout can be effective, especially when they start
Certain
screaming and going crazy,
Mhm.
because you know that's
It's working.
That's what's working, you know? You just have to be, I think consistency is like the main thing. So I think that everybody should watch The Super Nanny because they have really great tips, especially on like sleep training and talking back and all of that
stuff. Is it the lady
stuff.
that come in looking like Mary Poppins?
Yes.
Like a British
She's
lady.
a British lady. I love it. I swear by her. Okay, so then how do you handle back talking now that they're older?
Backhand.
Okay,
back
hold
talk
on.
Equal backhand.
Okay, but wait, hold on. So what about the little one? Because she's
back talk
3.
equal backhand.
Yeah.
No, I feel like the little one.
Someone's called it
I know, right?
Abuse.
I feel like the little one back talks the most, man. And she's the one with the...
Who is that? Is that your husband or is that you? Where'd she get that from? Like, why is she so naughty?
Definitely. I'm telling you, it's all my husband. Like, if you Googled him before a few, like, 20 years ago, he was something terrible.
The kid with the most whoopings, too, when he was younger.
Terrible. So I just feel like his whole... This is all coming back to him. It's all coming back to him, for sure. But she, she challenged me the most, so I gotta... do what I gotta do, whether it be spanking doesn't really work on mine, and she's like, it breaks her down. So that's what works with us.
She's so
that
cute,
used to break my heart when my mom was disappointed.
Yeah, it
that
breaks her
was
heart.
like the worst.
And she'll even if she did something in the day and that happened, before I put her in the bed, like I'll put her in bed and I'll tuck her in, and she'll like, are you mad? Are you happy? And I'm like, I'm happy now. And she's like, okay. Like, it's like she can't. Like, it's like, if she says she's mad, I can't take it. So that's what works for her. But, yeah.
Today, Ray started telling me to shush. Like, she'll...
after the
restaurant. So she was talking to my husband, and then he was like... He started talking to her, and then she told him to shush. And I was like, don't tell Daddy to shush. And she goes, shh. And I was like, don't tell me to shush. And she was like, shh. And she gets, like, her crazy face, like she's
now,
upset.
How is that? You?
No, I was never. It has to be my husband.
I was
because
never.
I would
Yeah,
have got beat by my daddy.
That's right.
There was no way. But I flicked her in the face. I flicked her in the mouth. I was like, do not tell me to shush. And she shush. And then I flicked her. And then she was like, and she just covered it. And as soon as I turned around, she was shh. And I'm like, oh. Yes. So I'm working on her. I don't know
what up with these girls. Our girls who want it so bad are coming there like, yeah, y'all.
I'm going to run the show right now, mama.
Oh, man.
So any tips, send them our way.
Yeah,
because these little back-talking girls. No.
Oh, no, mine back talks. I need a boy.
So what do you do when he backs up? You put
I'm telling you, whatever. If I'm in a good mood, like, I'll like let it, like I'll do the warning and the timeout. But if I'm already pissed, like if he's already pissed me off prior, like today, I don't know what the hell we were talking about. I was telling him to do something, and he's like, "No, I'm doing this," and he put his arm up because I was like, "No, I'm trying to help you come." I was trying to teach him to do something. I'm like, you need to come, because we just got a puppy. So, like, you know, the little kids are rough with the puppy. And I'm like, no, bud, you gotta, and I had my hand like this. I'm like, you gotta, like, calm down, because he was getting pissed that he couldn't get the puppy to listen to him. I'm like, you gotta calm down, because when you're upset, things don't work. You gotta, like, calm down. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this is how you do it. And I'm being so nice and trying to help him. And he puts his arm up to, like, move my hand. And I'm like, I was already pissed after that. I'm like, oh, hell no. I said, oh, hell no. And our timeout chair was, like, not far away. I, like, didn't throw him, but I shoved him. And he happened to, like, land on there. And I'm like, you do not hit my hand like that. I was pissed. See? And, like, my husband's home, and he knows when I'm at that level, he's like, oh, shit, what did he do now?
Yeah.
So.
But are you guys pretty much on the same team when it comes to, like, disciplining? Will he have your back and be like, no, you don't do that
So then, like, Landon's in the timeout chair throwing a fit, like, screaming so the neighbors can hear. And my husband takes them and is like, go to your room. Go to your room right now. And he's like, no! Like, oh my gosh.
See, and I think that's, like, the most pivotal part is when they're screaming so bad that you
Yeah.
just want to give it to them because you're like,
Yeah.
shut the hell up. They're going to call the cops on us.
But
But
you
you
Yeah.
can't give it, like, that's the breaking point. You
Yeah, you
can't
can't.
give it. You have to just send them to their room to scream their little heads
Yeah.
off and just let them run their little course and then come out defeated, and then they come and
Yeah.
apologize, you know, or you guys have to talk about it or whatever. But, like, it's that moment. Like, if you
Mhm.
give
Yeah.
in to that
Yeah.
during that cry, they won. And they know they won, you know? Like,
Yeah.
and I've seen it over and over, and
Then it becomes a pattern, and then
yeah, because they
just
know
keep
the
doing it,
louder
keep
I
doing
get or the longer
Yeah.
I go, Mama's gonna come in and she's gonna hug me and
I'm
hold
like,
me and
shut
cuddle me.
up. Do not talk. Do not cry. If I hear one more bit, but you know what? Like, my husband's like, you can't do that. Like, you can't tell him to not cry, because then now you're teaching him to shut down when,
Right. Yeah.
like later in the future,
He needs
say
to show
that,
emotion.
like, he needs to show emotion. Now you've taught him to shut down.
Right.
And I'm like, so, do I do?
But I think
Just
that's
let 'em
like
cry it
guys
out.
in general, right? Because like a lot of boys and stuff and their dads, like they teach them to be like strong and you don't
Yeah.
cry.
Yeah.
So when they get older, like
They
some
hold
they
it
just
in.
they're
Mhm.
just programmed like that when they need to show emotion.
It's crazy because you see,
Yeah,
like,
they
now
know
that,
that.
like, social media is, like, a huge part of our society now, it's like you see, like, they tell you, don't put them in timeout because now you're, like, making them
Oh,
just
it's so much
shut
fun.
down when they're older, or, like, you can't hit them, you can't even flick them because they'll call the cops on you. Like, it's so different.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
so crazy now.
It's-
Like, I don't understand. Like, what are you supposed to do? Is that why there's these crazy kids in Target, like 11 years old, throwing fits because of, like, how our society has turned into?
You know, it's crazy because before we had a girl, everybody would tell us it's going to be so different. Like, you're not going to discipline your girl. And we were spanked
Wow.
equally, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, some of us got it more than others because of the things that
Yeah.
they would do and stuff, but we all were beaten the same way, you know?
Yeah.
So I never thought that it was going to be any different. I knew my husband was going to be a softie for the girl. So when he was the first one to put her on timeout. And I was like,
Wow.
like, I didn't even think it needed timeout. Like, she was one, and she did something. She was one, and I don't know if she just told him no, or you know when they first that's the first
when
word
they
for
first
everything.
try, uh-huh.
And he took her to the room on timeout, and he made her sit on her little rocking chair, and she kept getting up, and he kept putting her right back on, and
He's
told
a
her to
little
sit there, and she was freaking out because she had never done that before,
Yeah.
and I was like, wow,
Whoa.
he's really doing this right now? Like, I am so proud of him. You know, I felt bad because she was crying and she's our baby, and
You're like,
and
oh, Dad.
and she hadn't done anything bad before, and I was like, this is a little hard, you know, but I was so proud because everybody was like, he's never gonna
that's
discipline
the
his
dad
baby girl.
Yeah,
And when he did, I was like, we got this. We're gonna do this together, and she's gonna fall in line the way that those boys fall in line, and I hope she does.
Yeah,
But
no.
I mean, it's good to know that we're on the same page. I
Yeah.
thought I was gonna have to be the monster and always discipline her. So, what do you guys think about, like, equal? Oh, sorry. Equal timeouts and stuff. I mean, do you guys discipline the boys the same way as the girls, or do you think?
Definitely. And it's so funny because with our first, I remember, like, we weren't always on the same level with the discipline because I used to think that he was, like, so over the top with his discipline. And, like, with our first, with Devin, he would be on him, like, so early, like, just on him. And I'm like, you can't be so hard on him. Like, but I feel like he was a little hard on him because he was a boy, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, he is going to, like, grow up and, like, be so scared of you and not like you. Like, you can't. But it ended up working out for the best because, like, he turned out to be a pretty good kid so far. So I felt like, you know, even though I was, like, all scared and everything, it ended up working itself out. But I also thought, okay, he's not going to be as hard with the girl because you hear everything like daddy's little girl. They're going to be soft when the girl comes, and no, she gets disciplined too, just like the boys did. So, yeah.
I don't have a girl, so.
But each child, per child, because they have different personalities. So.
Well, Levi is now 1, but
So what was Landon doing when he's 1? Are they the same behavior?
Landon, no, yeah, Landon was quiet and chill, and Levi's pretty quiet and chill. But it was when Landon turned 2, like the day he turned 2, it was like.
Terrible too.
Yeah, like someone flipped the switch or something, because I swear on his birthday I'm like, what the hell is it? Is it really like that's really how it works?
Said, hello, 2, I'm here.
Yeah, and then everyone's like, oh, just wait till you get to like
3.
The
three-nager. I have the
3-nager, right, and then somebody else was like, oh, 4 is bad, and I'm
dude,
like,
and then they started saying 5 and 6, and I'm like, y'all never just discipline your damn kid then, because if your kid is still on the floor kicking and screaming at 6 years old. You didn't nip it in the butt early on.
Oh no, we saw someone like.
Unless there's some type of, I mean, it could mean different things. Like, I don't want to just say that every kid that's 7 or 8 or whatever, and if they're on the floor throwing a tantrum, then something,
Well, and then you don't know what that kid.
Exactly, because my brother had special needs, so he was throwing a fit his whole damn life. He's 30 years old throwing a fit, so you never know what they're going through. But if the kid is 100% there and they're telling, and they're like, you didn't give them a candy and they're freaking out at 7 years old, then that's, I think, on the parent for not nipping in the butt earlier on,
Yeah.
Sure.
And that's harder. It's really hard as they get older, But, okay, so now that you've disciplined your kids and they're older, do they see other kids acting out and they notice it and bring it to your attention? Because my kids will like pick up on it and they're like, wow, they're acting so bad, and they're my age.
Most definitely. Especially my oldest. Like, I remember he went to his friend's house and he came back and he was like, Mom, I was over, I'm not, I don't make up a name, Pete. He doesn't know a Pete openly. And he was like, and his mom came in and was like, it's time for you to like do something. And he was like, don't you see I'm busy right now? I have company. No. Get out of here. And was like dead serious. He was like, I looked at his mom and looked at him like,
to see what God. She would do?
And he was like, his mom just left out. And he was like, I was like, dude, if that was my mom, do you know that I would be missing some body parts right now? Like, he knew. Like, he was like, I've never seen anything like that. I'm like, yeah, it happens, but don't you try that over here.
No. And then I always ask them, like, would you let your kid talk to you like that? Because I want to see... Yeah. I want to see, do they think I'm too extreme and strict and crazy, or do they understand why we're on top of them? And they're like, heck no, I would never let my kids. So then I'm like, okay, now you see. I'm not just trying to be on you. I'm on you so that you're not acting like that.
There's a reason behind the madness.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh my God. Okay, so what did you guys, like, when your kids were younger, what would you do when your kids would hit other kids or hit you? Like, did your kids ever try to do that?
Yes. I remember, I think I cried to you when he was, like, hitting at the kids' club at the gym.
He got kicked out.
He got kicked out. My kid, I swear he sounds like he's the worst kid in the world.
No,
but, like,
out in public. We're honest on here, but no, he's a good kid.
I remember crying because they called and were like, he hit this kid, and then the next day he bit some kid, and I'm like, what the? 2 days in a row. What am I doing wrong? Like, what am I doing wrong? I already took his toys away. He already had his iPad or whatever taken away. Like, and I remember, like, crying to my husband, like, I don't know what else to do. And, like, the timeout chair wasn't working at that time. Yeah. So he was... Like, I swear, when I'm the one that gets crazy, he's the calm one. And then when he's the one who was, like, kind of, like, pissed, I'm the calm one.
Well, that's good. It balances it out.
So, I don't know. Like, everyone, I think, just told us, like, it's gonna pass. Just, like, stay on it. Like, just keep telling him that's not how it goes. Like, it's not good to do that. And
so did it pass?
It did pass, but then now we have, like, our new set of challenges.
Right. But that said, like, he's not doing that at the gym
so, like, we just kept telling him, like, you can't do that. Like, how would you feel if someone did that to you? Like, you need to treat your friends the way you want them to. If you don't want to get hit yourself, then don't hit them, or no one's gonna play with you if you are hitting them, or. But then, and then if I think he has hit me, and I'm like, oh hell no, and I just like hit him back, and then like I tell my husband everything after like once everything's done and said, and he's like, you just taught him to hit, so like it doesn't, you can't. I mean he's hit him too, but it's like we've tried everything, so he's just like, you can't. I mean, we need to stop hitting him because that's why he's hitting. So
it's hard because I think that there's an age where they're so young that if you sit and try to explain everything to them, it goes over their head. Like they're too young to understand, and I think that that's when it's so hard to discipline them because you're like, you can't sit at their level and talk to them, you know? But so like when my little ones were they usually like when they're 1 or early 2, they'll try to test your, you know, push your buttons, and that's when they'll smack or they'll try to hit you or they'll try to bite you or whatever. And we would just, I mean, call us crazy, but we would just do it right back. Like if if she slapped me in the face or he slapped me in the face, boom, I would slap him back. Obviously not super full force, but I would slap him back just so that he would know how it felt. Yeah. And it would shock the hell out of them, and then they would never do it again. Or if they bit me, I would bite them right back and show them that shit hurts. You don't do it to other people. And hey, it fucking works. I'm sorry.
It works.
We wouldn't go back and forth. I would make sure if I bit him, like that was gonna be the last bite.
Janelle wasn't in there with boxing gloves for her child. Like it was not that kind of scene.
What about your kids? Did they ever?
Wait, what are you doing?
Really quick. You know what? I think the only person that I really experienced that way, I think Devin tried to like hit someone at school or something. And I honestly think that I was just really firm with him and like, you don't do that, you know, kind of a thing. And then it just passed. And Hayden's so, I don't think I've had that issue with him. Okay. But I'm sure it'll come with Harley. I haven't had it yet.
But now, okay. Do you feel like it backfires? I know, I'm so sorry. But do you feel like it backfires? Because I feel like we tell our kids so much, don't hit other kids. And then they allow their cousins to hit them. Or, you know, and I'm like, wait a minute. Did we do a disservice because now our kid is getting hit, you know?
No, because then you tell them, you know, like...
But then you have to go through that whole spiel.
Yeah, like self-defense.
We should talk about that. We should talk about that on another episode. Bullying, guys. Okay, we're going to wrap this up because this was like really long, but I think it went good. What do you guys think?
So everyone has their own disciplining styles, and you know your kid, whatever works and whatever. Yes. I mean, it's going to be trial and error. So you have to find what works for your kid. Like Janelle said, like hitting worked for one and pinching worked for the other, and timeout, whatever. So...
And just to clarify, we weren't beating each other. Spank is different than a freaking belt whooping, okay?
Exactly. And there's no judging over here. So we're not judging. Whatever works for you, works for you.
All right, ladies. If you guys like this episode, make sure you screenshot it, tag us, and let us know what you related to the most. And make sure you tune in next week because we're going to talk about planned pregnancies versus unplanned.
Jump on our Facebook group and tell us what you guys do to discipline, and maybe we can get some ideas.
Yes. All right, guys. Bye.